about BET?
BET, which is now owned by Tyler Perry. First of all, I'm proud of Tyler to come from rags to riches. I'm proud of Tyler Perry, but I'm also cautious because now that you have BET, now that you have the largest independent black movie studio in American history, now that you own VH1, can we start getting some positive content now? Or are we going to keep on getting 2 Medeas a year? Because I'm sick of that. We don't even see you in another dress with fake breasts again. We're done, right? So here's my thing though. I'm not going to be excessively critical of Tyler Perry because if Negroes only want to watch Medea and these other self-hate movies he put out, I understand he got bills to pay. If you got to stick with Medea, stick with Medea. But can we get a BET woke? Can we get a BET conscious? Can we get a BET culture where you're putting out some culturally affirming movies? We still haven't had a movie on the Haitian Revolution. We still haven't had a movie on Marcus Garvey. You understand me? Ida B. Wells still ain't get a movie yet. Think about all the Black Wall Street hasn't had a movie yet. Tulsa did. So my thing to Tyler Perry, you can hire writers to put movies together for these different epic periods in our history. I'm not asking him to abandon the garbage because unfortunately black people are addicted to it. But give those of us who woke a woke alternative. So that's my thing to Tyler Perry. If he does that, if Tyler Perry can give me some consistent conscious content over the next 10 years, I'll put him on my very short list of greatest blacks of the 21st century. The only person who's on that list right now is Brian Stevenson, who is head of the Innocence Project, who goes around the country getting all those innocent black people off death row who never should have been convicted in the first place. Right now, he's the only person on my list. And I pray for my sister, Queen Mother Oprah, because with the money she got, being the richest woman in the history of North America, not just black, period. If she goes to her ancestors, and I hope she don't go anytime soon, but if Oprah Winfrey goes to her ancestors with that kind of money, having no biological offspring, you see that? Having not done nothing for black America, I'm sure the ancestors want to give her a behind looking when she get to heaven. I mean, I don't think there's no greater embarrassment than for a multi-millionaire, billionaire black person to die having done nothing with your race. Look at Tupac, and he didn't get a chance to do anything. Tupac's money is controlled by an estate that his family has nothing to do with. Look at Kobe Bryant. He married Vanessa, a Latino. Vanessa inherited almost $1 billion fortune. Not an African identifying Latino either, you understand? She ain't using none of that money to help black folks. As soon as Kobe died, the first thing Vanessa did was change the name on his sports academy from Mamba to something else. Nobody told you to do that. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, BET can be something progressive under Tyler Perry if he wants it to be, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a lot of confidence because most of our multi-millionaires had to come and sit at that table controlled by those people. And I'm almost certain Tyler Perry probably had to have a sit down with those people. And once you sit down with those people, you have no independence of action anymore. If you notice, the only thing black millionaires and billionaires can do with their wealth is buy stuff and have fun. If you notice, they are not allowed to weaponize or politicize their money at all. That's why they got 20 cars, 20 homes, 1,000 pair of sneakers, because the white man says you cannot use any of this for the benefit of black people without taking a smackdown. But here's my thing, take the damn smackdown. I'd rather live on my feet or die on my feet than live on my knees. And that is a problem we as black people have. I think a lot of us are comfortable being on the bottom as long as we can have the conveniences of European civilization. We comfortable as long as I got my Mercedes, my cell phone, my white girlfriend, you understand, my Twitter, my Facebook. A lot of us are okay having no power as long as we can have these conveniences. Good question.
You know, how do you deal with the mental exhaustion of going hard for your people when they don't show up for you?
Number one, you can't get exhausted. Or when you get exhausted, you have to renew yourself. The Honorable Marcus Garvey said black leadership means pain, blood, and death. You see, so when you feel yourself getting exhausted, you got to take a break, self-care, get yourself back together and get back out there. Because when you look at the Ida B. Wells, and you look at the Bishop Turners, and you look at the Kings and the Malcolms and the Medgars, they didn't have no break. Don't get me wrong. Not self-caring cost some of them their life. I don't think it's a coincidence that Marcus Garvey died in his 50s. Booker T. Washington died in his 50s. Khalid Abdul Muhammad died in his 50s. I think Amos Wilson might have died in his 50s. There was not enough self-care. You feel me? So we have to engage in self-care. We can't work till we kill ourselves. But if we're not going to take care of ourselves as we work, it still needs to be in the struggle, because you becoming a casualty or a martyr is not what we need. We don't need our brothers dying for the people. We need our brothers living for the people. So that's number one. Number two, we have to make sure we're doing a good job marketing the program, because a lot of times our people simply don't know. And I think one of the things we have to create, which could start here tonight, because most of you registered through Eventbrite, is we need to have an information tree where when something critical needs to be gotten through the community, we can get it through email, text message. Maybe you're responsible for her knowing, and she's responsible for him knowing, and he's responsible for her knowing. But we need a way to get critical information to each other. Because guess what? If you live in Fort Lauderdale, Miami could be catching hell, and you don't even know if CNN don't tell you. So one of our greatest disadvantages is we are dependent on white people to keep us informed about black people. We don't know if something's going on in Jamaica right now unless the white media tells us. So I think we have to do better with advertising. And it's something I recommend y'all do in Miami. I actually recommend it for every community. They do it in St. Louis, Kansas City, Missouri. You know what they have? They have a community calendar. Every black organization in Kansas City agreed to do this one thing. There's a community calendar. Whenever you plan an event, you have to go and write it on the community calendar. There's one place in the city everybody can come to find out what's going on that's conscious and grassroots. And guess what? If a brother in Miami wants to do a barbecue for black boys on August the 10th, but he comes and looks at the community calendar and sees there's a sister already doing something for the elders, he cannot compete with any event that's already scheduled. Do y'all see that? Yeah. And so, and it's the only city I've seen do this. In Kansas City, there's no conflict amongst the organizations because they all agree to do them two things. Put it on the community calendar and don't compete with no one else. And this way, everybody in the community can go one place, and find out what's conscious going on. Y'all need to do that in Miami. Good question. Number 6. Oh, my bad.
My question for you, Mr. Umar, is about this. Can you define organized power, and how do we reach such organized power to affect major change?
I would define organized power as the organized ability to implement the agenda that you have determined to be in the best interest of future generations of African people. And it is also the ability to resist the schemes and scams of your enemy designed to sabotage your work. You have to be able to build, and you have to be able to resist sabotage and destruction from reactionary Negroes in the white power structure. To that point, I would say this. Black people have to start having meetings where we discuss nothing but how do we concentrate power in Miami in the hands of black people. Seriously, this meeting is about how can we take power over the food, how can we take power over the social events, how can we take power over education, because that's what Jews do. That's what Mexicans do. That's what Arabs do. They come as a community and say, how do we take over every corner store in Little Haiti? Do y'all see that? They want to dominate everything you got. We don't come together with the same mindset because we have been manipulated into believing that wanting power is evil. No, it's not. Evil comes from not having no power, because that's when you got to steal, kill, and rob in order to feed your family. Power is divine. God is power. And the only way you're going to be able to exercise your God-given potential is to have power yourself. One thing we got to start doing in the black community that we gave up our study groups when YouTube hit. YouTube destroyed the black study group movement. If you go back 20 years ago, every one of you probably remember a study group in your neighborhood. Different organizations had black conscious study groups. When you come, you watch a film, you talk about it. Book clubs, you read a chapter, you talk about it. As soon as YouTube took off, guess what happened to all the political study groups? They died. We have to go back to the study group. You know why? Every revolution in world history began with a study group. Because before I can fight with you, I have to share a common psychology with you. How do I know who you are if I don't study with you? See, when we study, you hear people's opinions, you hear people's mindset, you learn about their background, you get little snippets of information about them you otherwise would not have known. A brother who you thought could have been a frontline soldier might turn out to be a coon. A sister you thought was a coon might be the best person in the whole group. You gotta have the study group because that's how you recruit your soldiers and that's how you forge collective consciousness. We gotta go back to the study groups. And I'm gonna tell you something else we gotta go back to. We ain't done this since the Harlem Renaissance. Tyler Perry did it, but not for the right reasons. And that is the black community drama clubs. Research the history of drama in the black community. Do you know we resisted Willie Lynch with drama? We resisted the psychological programming of the public schools with drama. We would have a play on Harriet Tubman, a play on the Haitian Revolution, a play on Booker T. Washington, a play on the black soldiers of the Civil War, a play on the Maroons of Jamaica and the Maroons of Haiti. Why can't we put together plays? Because we can't compete with major network TV. But imagine if you had 100 children in here watching a play on Harriet Tubman, watching a play on Ida B. Wells. We say we don't want them to be Nicki Minaj, we don't want them to be Cardi B. Show them what they should be. What about a play on Anna Julia Cooper, one of the first black women to get a PhD who graduated from the Sorbonne in Paris and was one of the first Pan-Africanists in history? Let's dramatize the consciousness we want our children to have. What about a play that shows a black girl go from weave to natural hair? We need drama clubs. Drama is how we can recapture the minds of our children. Let's get back to the study groups for the adults, and let's get back to the drama clubs for our children. Number 7, black women, stop making babies with coons. Black men, you need to stop making babies with coons. So you got to start choosing people for revolution. As far as I'm concerned, we don't even need to be making no family unless we come together to produce soldiers for the revolution, scientists for the revolution, engineers for the revolution, business owners for the revolution.